and we got our special guest, Phillip Peoples. Hey, Lo, say what up to the people out there.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back, man. I'm glad to be back on the show. I'm glad to give you guys a fantastic show. Got my man Phil on the line. Phil, what's going on, brother?
What's happening, fellas? Thank y'all for having me, man. I'm loving what you guys are doing some awesome things, reaching some people and inspiring, man, and I'm honored to be on the show.
Man, that's good. That's good. I know we watched the game this past weekend. Myself being a Cowboy fan, I was very nervous about our first playoff game in a year or so, and it just happened that we had to play the Packers again, and the same thing happened again. And I was hurt, man. I was hurt, but riding into that season, nobody even thought we'd get this far. So real proud about what they accomplished. But let me ask y'all a question. I know we all sports fans, and we got some listeners that are sports fans too. Is this the best Final Four QBs we've seen, with Aaron Rodgers with a Super Bowl, Ben Roethlisberger with 2, Tom Brady with 3, Matt Ryan hasn't had one yet, but he's had a successful career? Phil, I know you play football. Is this the best 4 QBs that have you seen in the playoffs?
Actually, it very well may be. Looking at the body of work of these 4 guys and the accomplishments, this may be the best group of 4 quarterbacks ever. And being here in Atlanta, we're very proud of Matt Ryan. He's had some ups and downs in his career, but he's been the most consistent quarterback. I'll argue he's the best quarterback in Falcons history. I'll argue he's the best player in Falcons history. And I love Michael Vick just as much as the next man. But, you know, we went through some things with Mike, but I'm happy to see what we got here in this Final Four, man. I think it's going to be very, very, very exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
I feel I'm gonna have to disagree. I'm gonna have to disagree with you, man. Lo, go ahead and get him, Lo. Before I get him.
Hey, man. Well, hey, listen. I'll tell you this. I wouldn't say it's the top 4, but I'm definitely excited to see these guys. Like you said, the body of work is impeccable. Tom Brady, 4 Super Bowls. He's played in, I think, 6 or 7. You have Aaron Rodgers. I like Aaron Rodgers. I would like to see him get 2, but like Phil said, man, I'm kind of rooting for the underdog. I like Atlanta right now. They're looking hot. They got the running backs. They got a defense. Green Bay got some holes in their defense. And on the other side of the AFC, you know, I'm tired of Tom Brady's winning Super Bowls. I'm a Giants fan. I'm glad we got 2. We took 2 of them. We did y'all a favor. We took 2 away from him. But you know, Ben Roethlisberger, the Steelers, they got 6. And everybody always talk about how they got 6. So I don't want to see them get 7, man. So, but I do like what we have this weekend. And I'm looking forward to it.
Wow. So I think for the Cowboy fans, it's just the momentum that we had all season. Lo, you spoke of it. We lost to the Giants twice, and the last game really didn't count. So we had a successful season, and going into the playoffs, we had everything in place except that first half of the game. You know, it took us like we had to get hit in the mouth before we woke up, and I started thinking about starting 2017 with momentum. And I think when you start anything with momentum, if you start anything with momentum and you carry that over, you can put yourself in a position to win. You know, I'm not talking about the football game right now. I'm talking about in life. And so I know I started planning for 2017 back in October. And I wanted to carry that momentum into 2017 and keep going. And that's what we've been doing at Dreamchaser Academy and Gifted Legacy. We've been carrying this momentum all to the year, and some great things have already started to take place. And Phil, I want to introduce Phil. I want to give a little bit of his background. I don't want to take his shine or anything, but guys, right now on this podcast, we have Phillip Peoples, one of the top salesmen for a Fortune 500 company, doing incredible things out there in the Atlanta area, breaking all kind of records. This guy has so much knowledge to offer. And Phil, I'm just want to ask you this, Phil. How being that you had the incredible year 2016, man, what's going to keep that drive and that motivation and for you to start 2017 with momentum as far as your production goes, and you accomplishing some things that you haven't even dreamed of? But, you know, I know you set pretty big goals for yourself, but how are you going to set those goals, and how do you keep the mental mindset of keep raising the bar for yourself?
Well, one of the things that I've always believed, I believe as you accomplish things and you celebrate those accomplishments, you must move on. The biggest mistake that many people make who taste success, they taste success and feel that they've arrived. So what I tend to do, anytime I have a large success, a big win, a big year, I celebrate it for a little while, and I move right on. It's not even really for the sake of competing with anyone else. I'm really competing with myself. I'm trying to find out how good I can be, how great I can be. So I tell people all the time, you know, those wins that you had in the past, that's great, good job. But let's move on past them. Let's see how great you can be. Let's see how high you can elevate yourself.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Hey, definitely, you know, me and you work together, work for the same company, and you know, obviously in sales and as an entrepreneur, and we ain't talk about that yet, but, you know, I know you're an entrepreneur. I know you got some stuff going on with your new business, and your wife is an entrepreneur. How important is it for you to have a pitch or an elevator pitch or a 2-minute pitch? How important is that? And first of all, kind of explain to the audience what an elevator or a 2-minute pitch is.
Yeah, an elevator pitch is basically an introduction to yourself, who you are, what you do, and what benefits that you can bring to the person or people that you're speaking with. You have to, when you speak to people, and in sales or really in anything, when you speak to people, you have to speak in terms of benefit toward them. You have to tell them about you and how you can bring value to them. So anytime I speak to people about coming up with an elevator pitch, you have to kind of take that pitch and make it valuable to the person or people that you're talking to. For example, if I'm talking to, let's say we're selling financial services, or we're offering that service, and I'm talking to a group of people who may be interested in purchasing my services. Well, I want to speak about who I am, what I do, and my experiences, and I would say something like, you know, hey, I see you guys have this investment portfolio for your employees. I'd like to take that investment portfolio and exceed your expectations and your gains for you and your entire organization. Something like that. You have to talk in terms of how it will benefit them. So to answer your question, an elevator pitch is extremely important, and I always tell people I kind of got a little twist on mine. I always try to add the value that it would bring to the person or people that I'm talking to.
Wow, so definitely everybody needs to get their elevator pitch together. I feel I'm going to go a little bit deeper. I know hitting the numbers that you hit, you had to have a schedule, man. You have 4 beautiful kids and a wife, so you have to be a husband, father, and a breadwinner of the house. Let's talk about balance. See, I'm out here chasing my dream, Phil, and for me, at the beginning, I had trouble finding balance. I found that balance now. So explain to us your strategy of finding that balance and making sure that you had time for your kids. And I need it. I just had my firstborn son, Phil. So, you know, now throwing him in the mix, now it's imperative that I make sure I spend that quality time and love on him. But he needs to know that Daddy is doing this for him. Talk about that balance, Phil.
Well, congratulations on that firstborn. Now you got 3 more to catch up. First of all, you need to get your weight up. But yeah, man, balance is all perception, man. I tell people everyone has the same 24 hours. I have the same 24 hours as Lo. Lo has the same 24 hours as you, Coach. Warren Buffett has the same 24 hours as us. Balance is perception. I think a lot of people really they want to spend more time with, and now don't get me wrong, family is very important, but some people want to overextend sometimes. To find a healthy balance, as a parent, my motto as a parent, I really have one very important job to my children, and that's to teach them how to be productive and successful adults. Of course, love them, care for them, feed them, things like that, but I want to teach them how to be productive and successful adults. And what better way to do that than to create success of my own and be the example for them. What I've learned to do, everything kind of happens in spurts and in waves. So you figure, you got 7 days in a week, 24 hours a day. All right, let's just say you work. Let's just take the average American's working, 40 to 44 hours a week, Monday through Friday. All right. So what are you doing? That's 8 to 9 hours a day. What are you doing with those other, 14, 15 hours? That's a lot of time. Okay. So I tell people you gotta carve your time out in blocks. For your career, for your children, for your spouse, and you do need one-on-one time with your spouse. That's very important, away from the kids. So I tell people to section it off in blocks, man. You have a lot more time than you think, and start writing down what you do throughout the day. Sometimes you got a lot of time wasters in there. How often are you watching TV or talking smack with somebody who's really not even worth your time? That can be a loved one. Everybody ain't worth their time, man. So find out those time wasters and shrink that stuff, man. You got a lot more time than you think.
Yeah, that's huge, and I think that, obviously my whole motto is time is money, and so if I'm wasting time watching Netflix and I'm watching all these shows, or I'm on ESPN, or I'm watching football all day Sunday, I learned something from Eric Thomas. He said I go into the fourth quarter, I start watching the games in the fourth quarter, and I did something different this year, man. The football season went real fast for me. Like, I didn't watch all the games like I usually do. I'm a huge football fan, but I started realizing that my goals aren't being I'm not making them. I'm not executing them. So what am I doing? I got to watch my time. And being in sales, you have to set goals. You have to have a planner. I have to be organized. So I write down my goals because that's really huge, and we'll get into that. But in the sales side, Phil, because I want to switch things up, and we're kind of going back and forth, guys. Just stay with us. And we want to talk about sales. We want to talk about the entrepreneurship piece to it. So, Phil, you talk a lot about this book, Go for No, by Richard Fenton and Andre Watts. I already got it ordered. I'm ready to get that thing and put it into the rotation. How important is it for an entrepreneur or a salesman to accept no and bounce back from that?
Yeah, man. No, funny story about that book. Anytime you read, you get different things each time you read it. I read that book maybe 2 or 3 times. 2 parts to that book. Number one, no. You're going to get no's in sales. You're going to get no's in life. You have to take those no's and move on. You can't take rejection personal. You can't get in your feelings, because what it'll do, it'll hurt your posture moving forward. So you kind of got to get past that. The most important thing, if you read that book and understand, the most important thing they were trying to get across was activity is the great equalizer. I'm going to say that again. Activity is the great equalizer. This is what I mean by that. You can be subpar with your talent as a salesperson. You can be, an introvert, maybe shy, maybe not that well-spoken. I don't consider myself this guy that can sell anything to anyone, which is not true. Get into that later. I want to talk about that. The way you become successful in sales and business and anything is your activity. How many people you talking to every day? How many appointments you setting every day? How often are you networking? Activity, man. If I'd rather any day, I'd rather hire a guy who's making, 60 phone calls a day and sitting with 7 to 8 people today and closing 40% of those deals than the guy that make 10 phone calls a day and sit with 3 people a day and closing all those deals. Because in the long run, that guy with the most activity, his activity is going to pay dividends. So activity is a great equalizer. You don't have to be this smooth talking, suave, guy to get into sales. Activity is a great equalizer. Your posture will get better the more you do something. Your closing rate will get better. So that book, the no piece is big because let's be honest, people in this generation, and I'm just 28, so I don't want to sound like the old guy, but our generation, man, we're real sensitive for the most part. People get in their feelings about certain things, man. When someone tells you no or someone rejects your product or service, it's okay, man. You move on to the next. There's 7 billion people in the world, 7 billion. So think about that for a second. Whatever product or service that you have a great number of people in that market. But the most important thing, man, that activity. You got to get out there and talk to a lot of people, sit with a lot of people, network with a lot of people. So that's what I got from the book. And I encourage everyone, if you're in sales, everyone's in sales in some way or another, but grab that book and check it out.
Said the name of that book, right, Phil, is Go for No?
Go for No.
Go for No. Go for No. And I know me and you, earlier this month, we talked about our goal was to get to 100 no's as fast as we can. And I know you getting close to that. And so, Phil, what else do you have to learn? I mean, you're the top salesman in your company. Is there still a learning curve for you, or you need to be challenged to a different career? I mean, what else is there about sales that you need to know? I mean, from outside looking in, you know everything about sales, right?
Nope, I don't know anything. The sooner you realize you don't know everything, the more you'll learn. I have a long way to go, a real long way to go. I'm still in infancy stages. I still have entrepreneurial dreams. I want to be able to train and develop others. I want to, it's a lot to do, man, and you never know everything. I'm always reading, always listening to podcasts and audio books, always seeking out mentorship. You actually connected. Shout out to Mr. Adrian Howard, who's been very impactful to me the past couple months. You always need to be seeking knowledge and seeking more. And it's not. Some people may be listening and say, well, it sounds like it's all about money and numbers to me. No, man, it's about growing as a person as well. We talk about success and we talk about wealth, and don't get it twisted. We're big on that here. It's also about developing yourself. You have to become a better you to attract those things. So I'm always learning, man. I mean, I hadn't reached the pinnacle or anything. I hadn't reached my financial goals. I'm a long way from there. So, I'm a long way from my development goals. I'm a long way from my spiritual goals. So I'm always learning, always learning. Any salesperson that tells you they've arrived and they got it, they won't be successful very long. They'll begin to regress. Times always change, man. Every 3 to 5 years, things are changing. People are changing. Technology's changing. Industries are changing. You got to be up on your toes and ready to learn that stuff.
Yeah, that's huge, man. I think the great apostle Paul said that the more I read the Word of God, the more I realize I don't know. So it's important for personal and development. And I'm glad you said that, because we want to talk about reading. We talked about this in the last show. Last year I read about 31 books. I probably listened to a few thousand hours of audios, motivational, inspirational, financial, spiritual. And there's a lot of things. It really helps because I can really begin to advance in some of these areas in my life. And so it's important. So with that being said, and Coach, I'll bring you in on this question. We talk a lot about momentum and 2017 being our year. And sometimes, like you said, like when you hear no and you're at work and people are telling you, hey, you can't do something, why is it important for us to listen to 2 to 5 minutes of something motivational or inspirational? For me, I used to listen to motivational audios, the 7-minute drive to work. And what I started to do, I invested in a Bluetooth. And so while I'm working, in the middle time, while I'm doing my office work, I'm listening to audios and I'm just gaining knowledge. And why is it important for us to get that momentum in the morning so that we can just go out throughout the day? Coach, you can start off first. Yeah, Coach, you can start off first.
Man, I'm just saying like this. Your input determines your output. What I've learned, though, is music is cool, but mentally, I'm on some other stuff right now. I want to increase myself. spiritually, and I want to grow my, I guess you could say my mental state about finances, entrepreneurship, being a better father, being a better husband. So I have a USB, and I just load content on there from Joel Osteen, T.D. Jakes, to Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Eric Thomas. I'm just pumping that stuff into my head constantly. Now, matter of fact, guys, if you go to the website, dreamchaseracademy.net, we actually developed a 3-minute meditation video. And it's packed with scriptures, motivational quotes, and some pictures. And I look at that every day. And we'll go deep into another show and talk about the subconscious mind. And it's something that most people don't tap into, but let me give you an example. Let me give you guys an example. Before I go to bed tonight, I will look at that visualization video and the audio that has some soft music to it. I will look at that. I read my Bible, read the scripture, and I'll close my eyes. I want the last thing that's inputted in my mind to be on my mind when I go to sleep. See, the Bible talks about, meditate on me. And the me is the Bible, the Word of God, day and night. And so that's where I'm at with it, Lo. So, the music is cool, but I feel whatever you put more into, that's what you're gonna give out. That's what your actions are going to produce. I always say, your thoughts become your actions become your character, and your character will ultimately determine how successful you will be in life. So Phil, what are some of your routines? And I know you're big on personal development. What are some of your routines? Are you a more audio person, or are you a more book person?
I do a little bit of both, man. I'm big on audio. I'm in the car a lot, driving to appointments and going to see people. I always listen to audio. When I'm in the gym, I'm an early bird. I'm up at about 4:30 in the morning to get to the gym, get that workout in. So I'm listening to audio as I'm working out. I tell people that's so important. The development part is so important. If you look around you every day, unfortunately, there are lots of negative influences and negative impacts around you all day long. Turn on the news, people at your job, people in your businesses. That's a lot of that stuff around. So you have to counter that by placing something different in your mind. I protect my relationships. I protect them with my life. And what I mean by that is the people that bring joy and positive energy and encouragement in my life, I protect that. The people who don't, you cannot get near me, nowhere around me. Think about it like a bodybuilder or an athlete. If I'm eating candy and junk and fried food all day and go out there and try to perform, I'm going to be sluggish. If I'm, eating lean proteins, vegetables, hydrate myself with water, the correct supplements, I'm going to go out and perform a lot better. Same thing with, in your personal life, man. If you, I love music too, man. I love music, big fan of all types of music. And and there's time for that. There's time to enjoy yourself. But at the same time, you really have to develop your mind and fill your mind with those positive affirmations at all times. I'm going to give you a quick story, man. I spoke to a guy about a week ago, and he's been kind of entrenched in the political scene in the country right now, really entrenched in it. And he told me, he was an older gentleman. He told me, he said, man, I've been feeling so bad. I've been feeling so sick. I don't know where my life's going. I don't know what the direction is. And I said, why? Just everything that's going on. I said, you know why you feel that way? Because you're allowing outside forces into your life to distract you from what's going on. I don't care who the president is, who the congressman is. That stuff doesn't matter. You are in control of your success, your life, and you control how you feel and your mood. If you're upset and angry, you chose to do that. You allowed something in there, and that's something that you chose. If you're uplifted, inspired, and motivated, you chose that. Make the right choice. Make the correct choice. Turn off the news. Cut off some people in your life, man, and really dive in and developing yourself and surrounding yourself and putting good stuff into your mind. It's really important.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. You know, I was listening, and I thought of Les Brown's "Live Your Dreams" quote. He says, if the old African proverb, "There's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do you no harm." And so that's pretty huge, and it's important, guys, that you're developing yourself, because I don't mind whatever you're into, whether it's sales, whether it's bakery, whatever it is that you're doing. You know, you really have to like develop yourself. We talk about reading. You know, you can read on almost anything in today's age. You can go on YouTube. You can watch videos on almost anything. You can do anything you want. You can put it on YouTube. So, you know, develop yourself. Stop watching programmed television. It's programming your mind to be unproductive. So you have to be very focused on the things that are important. And so I put a video on Facebook the other day. If you're not on my Facebook page, you can go follow me at Low Wilder. And I had this video on there, and the guy had a jar, and he poured about 10 golf balls in there. And he asked the classroom, "Is it full?" And they said, "Yes." So then he grabbed some pebbles, and he poured the pebbles into the jar. He asked the class again, "Is it full?" They said, "Yes." Then he went back into his bag, and he grabbed some sand, and he poured the sand into the jar. And then the class started laughing, and he's like, "Now is it full?" And they start laughing, "Yes." Whips out 2 Coronas, puts them into the jar. Everybody started laughing, and then he started explaining what those items symbolize. And the golf balls were the important things in life: your family, your business, your career, your dream. That's the most important things in life. The small pebbles, those are the other important things, like your car, your home, vacations, things like that. The sand is the small stuff. Then one of the classmates asked him and said, "Professor, what was the beer for?" He says, "Well, whenever you think that your life is full, it's always okay to have beer with some friends." So I thought that was pretty cool. Hey, Coach, what other questions you may have for Phil, man? I think we covered some stuff on entrepreneurship. I know you wanted to talk a little bit more about the sales part of it. So, you know, what do you got for Phil?
Well, Phil, my question is for those people out there who are ready to make that, quote-unquote, Steve Harvey would say, jump. You see, Phil, I meet people all the time, and they're always complaining about how much money they make. You know, they don't pay me enough. See, I'm a teacher, and I hear that all the time. But my mindset is, well, go sell something. You know what I'm saying? You
right.
know, and that's why I became an entrepreneur. I love teaching. You know, I don't teach because of the money, but I love being around kids. And so for me, I started an event planning business in North Carolina, and I was doing sporting events, and I had to get out there and meet people. I had to make some sales to bring tickets, bring people, bring teams to the events. I had to make some sales, baby, because that's what it's about, sales, sales, sales. All these successful people out here, they're in the selling business. They're selling those sales, and they're selling product. But my question for you, Phil, is if someone's out there and they never sold anything before, where do you start?
Well, I'm gonna start. I'm glad you asked this question. I'm glad we kind of circle back to this because I briefly mentioned it. Everyone's in sales. Everybody, even if you think you're not, you're in sales. Somebody's either selling somebody on yes, somebody's selling you on no, or you're selling yourself on what you can or can't do. Everyone's in sales. Everyone. Think about your kids. My kids, you know, they're pretty persistent. When they want something, they ask me a lot of questions to get to that yes. Either they're going to sell me on yes or I'm going to sell them on no. Everyone's in sales at all times. I sell them on bedtime. You know, if you want to talk about the small things. I mean, seriously. Anyone who doesn't look at themselves as a salesperson, and let me define sales because a lot of people have, when you say sales, they have the used car salesman. Salespeople have a bad rap in this country, but if you go into other countries, a salesperson is a very respected person. It's so crazy now. People don't even put salesperson on their cars. They put consultant or I've seen some crazy things on cars. This is all sale is. Finding a need, want, or problem, and fixing it or filling it. That's all it is. Find a need, find a want, or find a problem, and fix it or fill it. That's all it is. It's pretty simple. So anyone who's, if you're unhappy with your income, if you're unhappy with your current situation, if you're not fulfilled in your occupation, first thing you need to do is find something you believe in. You can't just sell anything. Anybody that tells you, I can sell salt to a slug, that's bull. All right, find something you believe in, that you're passionate about, and something that you feel like can make a difference in an industry. All right, that's number one. Number two, learn about it, educate yourself on it. Number three, go out and make some friends and talk about it. Find some people that, may have that need, or they have a problem that you can fill with your product and or service. So it's that simple. People have no idea what sales is. Everything is about sales. Steve Jobs was a salesperson. Dr. King was a salesperson. Donald Trump, salesperson. Barack Obama, salesperson. They sold you on their belief and their dream, and you followed them as a customer or as a political supporter. Everyone's in sales. Your grandmother, your mother, the guy on the side of the street begging for change, we're all in sales. Some are good at it, some are not so good at it. But the great thing is you can always fix, abilities can be fixed. You can teach someone, you can fine-tune skills. You got to develop that want to on your own. You get that activity I talked about, that's the want to. How many people you willing to talk to? How much you willing to network? My wife about to start door knocking to get customers for a painting company. You willing to go knock on 100 doors, get some doors slammed in your face? If she knock on 100 doors and get 20 customers, do you know how much money she just made? You can either look at it as, man, I got the door slammed on me 80 times, or, man, I met 20 real cool people and got some new customers. It's up to you. You got to develop that want to. So I hope that cleared the air about what sales is. And if you're looking to get into it, you're already in it. You're already in it. You just need to find out how to get better at it and start to sell a product or service that you believe in. And that's including yourself. Sometimes you got to sell yourself. So I hope that cleared that up about the profession of sales. This is a profession I'm pretty passionate about.
Talking about sales, Grant Cardone, we always talk about him, all of us. Phil, you introduced him to us several months ago, and I've been reading his books and reading on his content. I'll probably watch about 2 hours of his videos, and he always talks about feed the beast, feed the beast. You need to be obsessed. One of his books, Be Obsessed or Be Average. And he talks about feeding the beast, getting that action, getting out there, taking massive action. And it's true because, when someone hears no, and going back to that book, when someone hears no, they turn around, they're done. It's over, game over. Now, guys, if you're in sales or whatever it is and no is going to stop you, you're out the game. And like Phil said, we're all in sales, regardless of what you do. So if you're out the game, guess what, guys? Then it's a wrap. You're done. So, feed the beast. Get out there. See, get out there. See 10 people a day. You might get one person, but by the end of the week, you'll have about 7. If you take one person a day, if you go out there and see 10 people, that's 70 people in a week. And if you only get one, that's 7. You got shut down 63 times. But it's okay because you still got one person each day. And so, we talk about this, taking the massive action. We talk about all of our plans. And to wrap this whole thing up, what do you gentlemen feel like, or Phil, let me ask you, since you're on our guest, in sales, when it comes to sales, like you said, you're selling everything. How important is it for you to close the deal rather than trying to sell the deal? Because one of the things I learned from Grant Cardone, he says, one of the things I get from him is you got to close the deal. And I tell my guys as a manager in sales, you have to go up to the customer with confidence and you have to close the deal. So one of the examples that I did in my sales call the other day with my team, I said, when a customer shows up and they're looking at colors over there, don't go over there and say, "Man, have you need any help today?" Just say, "Have you made a decision?" And asking them if they made a decision, you're getting closer to the close rather than starting all the way from the beginning and going from there. So how important is it to close the deal?
closing a deal, that's another really interesting topic. I can have a whole call about closing. I've learned how to have people close themselves. If you ask the right questions, the probing part is the most important part in sales. And the most important thing that you can do in sales is to listen. It's to keep your mouth closed and listen, because people will tell you everything they need and want, and they will sell themselves if you listen, if you ask the right questions. So what you taught your employee was to ask the right question, all right? So as far as closing, closing, you're always closing as soon as you start asking questions. You can get them to close themselves. My motto is I get people to close themselves. In the insurance industry, it's ways, like I said, we can have a whole other call about closing, man. You ask the right questions, you can help people find their own need. Like, man, I don't have enough coverage. If something happened to me, my family is in a bad situation, man. I need this. Asking the right questions. It's real simple. So, some people, I've developed some new, I wouldn't call them new. I've taken on some new mentors and some new guys I read about closing. Spin Selling is one of the best sales books I ever read, and he talks about that probing and asking those questions. People are closing themselves. I'm not talking about like a high pressure close, like, hey man, you gonna buy this? Hey man, this is what you need. You ask the right questions, people are developing their head like, man, I gotta have this, and all you do is ask for the sale at that point. Hey man, can we get you started? Does this plan or this plan work? You like this or that? You just give them options at that point if you ask the right questions.
Yeah, I think that's the key, Phil. You said it. Listen more than you speak. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. So I definitely agree with you on that. Hey, Lo, I'm gonna throw it to you real quick. So give the listeners, and I say me because I've been taking notes all show too. So give us your background in sales. What was it? What's the biggest thing that you tell your team before the day when you look at your daily goals?
Well, I always tell, we have to have a plan. So each day what I try to do is, depending on the day, there's goals for that day. If it's truck day, the guys are going to focus on truck. One of the things that I believe in sales is having that parent. So it's always big that they're ready to go. They're fresh, they're clean, the store is clean, and they're motivated, they're inspired, they're ready to get the day started. When I share the goals with them, I start asking them questions. How are we going to get there? How are we going to get there by the end of the day? What are we going to do to get to these goals? For an example, today I was with my assistant manager, and I'm coaching him on how to be a store manager. And, during the other day, he made a sales call to one of our customers, and they happen to be in uptown. We can deliver to this particular town, right? So the guy said, yeah, I'm up here, I'll call you later and I'll order from you. Well, later throughout the day, today I went back and I said, hey, did he call? Did he order anything from us? And he went back and saw that he ordered something from the other store. So we ended up getting a call from the other store, and they said, yeah, we're looking for this product, and it happens to be the product for my customer. So I told him to call him back, and he was nervous to do it. And I said, listen, call the guy back, ask him if we can send him the paint. So the guy went, my assistant manager, he called the guy, and he was able to get the sale. And so he was able to close on that sale. So after that, we sat back and we used it as a lesson. And so that's what I do with my guys. I kind of share the lessons on, hey, how can we get better? How are we going to get to our goals? How can we get better? What are the things? Can we follow? We got to follow up. So there's many different things, but I really want my guys to be in tune with the business. They have to have their product knowledge. They have to be ready to have a rebuttal for some objections. Some customers come into our store and, they're like, wow, these are some high prices for these products. Well, we sell top-of-the-line stuff. So for me, I tell my guys, listen, these customers are coming into the store. They know they're ready to buy something. So we need to close them in. So we kind of go over our goals and we find an action plan to kind of execute those goals. And then at the end of the day, I try to share some results with them. If we have some success stories, we kind of go over that. But that's kind of what I do for my guys. And it kind of works. And we're constantly learning. Like Phil said, there's some new things that I'm adding to the mix right now. So I'm liking the feedback and we're looking to take this thing to another level.
That's some good stuff. That's some good stuff. Well, guys, we definitely appreciate you on our episode, and we want to thank Phil for being on the show today. And guys, I really hope that the information that you're getting from these podcasts, that you're using them. You see, last week I think I mentioned it. See, our motto at Dreamchaser Academy is I'm lit, live it in truth. See, the things that we discuss on a podcast are things going on in our personal lives. So we're actually implementing the things that we discuss and the things that we're telling you guys to do that have proven results. And when I say proven results, we are researching content daily. We're reading. We're listening to audios from successful people. We're reaching out to them. We're on the phone with these people. Hey, spending time with them. Hey, can you just please share some insight on you on what I can do to make my personal business better? How can I reach the results that you've reached? We're doing those things, and then we're sharing it with you guys. Okay, so when we're on the show, again, definitely want to emphasize we're not just regurgitating information that we see online. We're actually doing these things with you. So we're growing with you in 2017, and this was a great show. Hey, Phil, thanks a lot. Lo, go ahead and close this out.
I appreciate that, man. And Phil, thanks a lot for being on the show. The scripture I got for today is it kind of entails sales, your dreams and things like that. I had something else on my mind, but as we were going, I was doing a little research on one of my favorite scriptures in Jeremiah 29:11-13. It says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart." And so in order for us to be successful in our business, we must trust in the Lord. God's will is what's best for us. There will be times when you do not understand why things are happening in your business, but God is always trying to teach us and protect us. So guys, take that. Whatever it is that you do, remember, take some of the things, go back, listen to the show again if you missed some things. Hopefully you guys take notes. We appreciate the viewers. We appreciate the likes, the shares. Thanks a lot. God bless, and we'll see you next week.
Hey, Lo, one more thing with the listeners. I know Black History Month is coming this month, so we're going to be dropping you nuggets on some things. Me and Lo, we brainstormed together, and we're going to start this new segment. Lo, tell them the new thing that we're starting, something fun that we're bringing it to the listeners.
Yeah, so for the next show, we have a segment called If You Don't Know, Now You Know. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a fact. So there's the fact that we got Phil on the call. Phil, man, share something with the group. If they don't know something, now they know. Hit them off with something before we get off the call.
Cool, man. Well, I'm going to share a Black history fact about my city, the greatest city in the world to me, the city of Atlanta. I love this city. I'm going to be buried right here. I'm going to live here. I'm going to put my roots down here. For those of you who don't know, I want you to Google and research a gentleman by the name of Herman J. Russell, who was very influential in the civil rights movement and is probably one of the most successful black entrepreneurs in the history of the city. He left us in 2014. He passed away November 2014. People don't know this. I'm going to give you a couple of facts about him. He funded a lot of the civil rights movement. When Dr. King and a lot of those guys were moving around, he funded that. Mr. Russell, he started out as a small plastering guy. He did plastering, for those of you who know about construction. He turned this into a multi-million-dollar construction company and a real estate investment company. I had the pleasure. I actually closed that deal. That was one of the deals that I closed, and they still buy product from us today. And I got a chance to sit with him on multiple occasions. Cool fact, he was the first guy in Atlanta with an indoor swimming pool back in the 60s, and Dr. King and his family and Bernice King actually said this. They used to go to his house to swim and kind of unwind and relax. He also served as a consultant to a lot of those guys during the civil rights era, which a lot of people didn't know. They met in his office a lot. He had an office. They recently moved, but that office stood in Atlanta for decades. They recently moved after he passed away. Very, very great brother, man. A lot of people don't know he had a speech impediment. This guy had a speech impediment that never stopped him. You know, a lot of people struggle with their own things they deal with their personality or maybe their appearance or how they speak. He had a speech impediment that never stopped him. And the last time I sat with him, I never forget what he told me one day. I said, Mr. Russell, I said, you impacted and influenced a lot of people, and a lot of people don't know who you are. He said, and I said, man, why don't people know who you are? He said, I'm not worried about people knowing who I am. I'm worried about the lives that I touch, directly or indirectly. He said, I don't care if they ever know my name. I don't care if I'm never a household name. But I know in my heart I helped somebody, and I paved the way for a new generation. So Herman J. Russell, rest in peace, one of my heroes, actually, you know, my hero, actually. So check him out, man. Do some research, Mr. Herman J. Russell from right here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Well, there you have it, man. If you don't know, now you know. Herman J. Russell. There it is, man. Now I know. I'm going to Google it, man. Appreciate it, Phil. We look forward to hearing from you guys next week. Appreciate the call.